Hello, ladies and gentlemen, witches and wizards, fans of all ages. Thank you for joining Nom Watch Review. Welcome to Nom Watch Review. Like I just said, I'm a little repetitive. I'm sorry, guys. Part of the Nom Talk network. On the show, we review the latest film drop or throwback, celebrating a milestone while eating our favorite foods and drinks / movies and snacks. I'm your host, Alejandro Cowie, and today we are talking about Star Wars. Yes, Star Wars, but not only Star Wars, episode Return of the Jedi. Yeah, that's right. I didn't say the number, but it's Return of the Jedi. So that being said, I am joined by a trio of great guests here to talk about some nerdisms with me, as I am having some little Del Taco shameless plug. I got a little double over here with French fries. I don't want to go ahead and show this because it's going to be big troublesome. But other than that, I'm going to introduce to our fellow guest here today. Gene, may you introduce yourself, our friend, and also what you're having with us today.
Yeah, hey, how's it going? I'm Gene Aversa. I'm drinking a beer here. I don't know if it'll play, but it's a Christmas ale. I think I've had it for several months, and it's still pretty good. So it's can't complain about that.
I love that the follow-up was it's still pretty good. I'm alive still. So that's always a positive. Excellent. Right on. Mikey, introduce yourself, my friend, and what you're having with us today.
Hey, I'm Mikey. I'm happy to be here with everybody here. This is a great show. I'm just having like a little chicken mac thing I got from Cluck and Blaze. It's a restaurant not too far from here, and some water. So very basic tonight, but yeah.
Dude, that still sounds delicious. Like, give me some macaroni, cheese, grilled chicken, or fried chicken. I'm like in heaven, dude.
Good.
A little sriracha sauce on that. Oh, right on, man. Thank you for joining us tonight. Kenji, my friend, introduce yourself and what you're having with us today.
Hey, everybody. I completely forgot my water bottle.
Okay.
I mean, I suppose I could just fill up my, Gatewalker
might have a little technical
Dungeons and Dragons mug with water. I suppose.
All right, and sorry, but if I unintentionally interrupt you every once in a while, it looks like you're going in and out. So I'm sorry, my friend. Just maybe get some technical difficulties on the end. We might get Kenji back a little delayed there. What we're gonna do real quick here is I'm gonna start off with the introduction to pretty much how you guys felt. And honestly, we know that this film actually came out in 1983, so I not know everybody is not been a certain time of era around that, but I would like to get an idea of how you guys felt when you actually first seen this film and where you're at. Kind of memories in general. Mikey, can you tell me, my friend, do you remember when you first saw this film, your initial feelings, any I'd say attachments to it?
So I was living in Texas at the time. My dad was in the Navy. I'm old enough that I saw this in theaters. I was a very little kid. And it was one of the film movies that he took me to.
Heck yeah.
So I remember watching this tiny little theater in Kingsville, Texas. It was packed. Everybody was looking forward to it. This is before the internet, so nobody knew what was going to happen. So everything was new. It was fresh. It was like a big surprise for me. It was what made me fall in love with going to the movies. Basically, the experience of going to the movies. This is one of the movies that made me fall in love with it. So aside from it being like one of my favorite movies of the Star Wars saga, it's also one of my favorite just experiences of going to the movies.
Heck yeah. Man. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing with us, man. It's great. Gene, can you remember your first time you were introduced to the film, your introduction, your feeling?
Yeah, I think this was the first Star Wars film that I saw. So I think I saw them in reversed order. So I saw the last one first. But it's the one I consciously remember because we had the VHS. And it was probably the special edition. But yeah, I think when I was a kid, I would just rewind it and play it a bunch. And then I would act it out with my X-Wing. So that was cool. Yeah. So that's kind of my first memories of Return of the Jedi.
Very cool. Very cool. Kenji, my friend, your first time introduced to the film, your feelings, attachments.
I mean, I am a huge Star Wars fan. So the first time I saw it, I had already been introduced by my friend, and I think I was in kindergarten at the time. Kindergarten or in the first grade, my friend had already introduced me to the first two films. So it was like at a sleepover. I think we just marathon through the whole thing. And I just remember just having, I thought it was awesome. It definitely wasn't my favorite one out of the three, but I still loved it nonetheless. I mean, of course, it was mostly because of the sword fights. It was the sword fights and the speeder bike chase that just captured me so much as a kid, and of course I was very fortunate to have seen it with the re-releases that they've done in theaters, back in, with the special editions, and then of course with the most recent uh, anniversary that they had in theaters. I got very fortunate, so
Right on.
I loved it. Yeah.
Heck yeah, right on, dude. Very, very cool. I didn't get to see it in theaters. My main thing was I moved around a lot as a kid, so it was kind of like whatever was on television was kind of my main thing. And at the time being, I can't remember what channel it was, but I saw a slew of stormtroopers cross the screen. I was like, what the heck is that? And my dad was like, Star Wars. I was like, and I think I was 7 at the time. I was like, Star Wars? What is Star Wars? And he was like trying to explain to me, the process. He's like, you know what? No, just sit down and watch it. And I sat there and just seeing just watching, Stormtroopers, but all of a sudden, like the scene changes all of a sudden to Ewoks. And I was just thrown off by these fuzz, and I just got hooked. I just started watching from there. Then at the time being, I guess there was a push majorly from Micro Machines at the time being. So they were pushing out the Millennium Falcon with the mini little Micro Machine attachments, the X-Wing starfighters, snow speeders. And I literally got attached to it and just got the Micro Machine collection. So to say that I didn't like it as a kid, it would be an understatement. I do have some gripes with that a little bit, but not enough to really take it off my one of the films that I really attached myself to it. So other than that, let's go on to the beginning here. Now we get to the beginning of the film, and I have to ask you guys, all three of you here, this really important question. We see Jabba the Hutt and the bounty hunters, right? So we obviously I would say a nation of bounty hunters, and then we see obviously understand that the Empire exists because on skin it's the result of Han Solo being where he's at, and then obviously you see him trying to be rescued by the Resistance. Now we've cut with Rebel Rebellion. Some people associate it. Now I have to ask all three of you this: did you relate with the Rebellion more, the bounty hunters more, or did you relate with the Empire more? Now, I understand that if we get all philosophical and so forth, we understand the backgrounds on who's bad, who's good. I'm not this way. Forget the whole philosophical concept. We're talking about aesthetic. I have to start with Gene first. Do you have a preference of the three representations here? Now we understand that this is where we're coming from in the film.
Yeah, I think the Rebellion I probably went with the most. I think they had just like the cooler looking vehicles, things like that. The X-Wing or Y-Wing. I don't know. The TIE fighters and the Empire is just kind of like boring, I think, even though I do love the bounty hunters, though. They have some cool designs and everything. So yeah, that's just kind of from my gut. Yeah.
Heck yeah. You do that. You're not wrong. The X-Wing is like wicked, though. I mean, it's hard not to like a piece of aircraft like it's fantastic. Kenji, out of the three we were talking about, my friend, did you find a connection to either or aesthetically, anything that you were really rocking with?
For me, the thing that I was rocking the most with was, like the sword fights, like that's really what got me so intrigued in the it was sword in a way that I mean, maybe they did have laser swords on screen up until this point, who knows, but like this was the thing that really made it like popular and like just made it so awesome. And intrigued, of course, as a kid. Like, I mean, my color tastes have changed over the years, but like at the time, that green lightsaber of Luke's was just like, oh, that was so cool to find out that he also made it himself. Like, it was, I personally just loved that as a kid, even the lore and like the mythos behind it. It was just, it was very, and Gene was talking about like the aircraft and stuff. I personally thought the B-wing was like the coolest one, because like it was such a crazy like design, and I was like, like, and yeah, it was. I think it's.
I like the A-wing.
There's so much we could go forever about this stuff.
But no, that's the point here. That's what we're going on here. So hold on. Wait. I want to go ahead, get to Mikey, but from your discussion right now is going to add two additional questions. So Kenji, you did it. Jane, you messed up. We got to have more questions here. So, Mikey, before we go into the next ridiculously awesome question, were you vibing? Who did you have? One of the three? Which of the three were you vibing with the more? I should ask. Sorry.
For me, it was the Rebels, because I liked the characters more. I felt like they were better characters. I liked Han Solo. He was like my favorite character, and I also liked R2-D2 because I liked robots at the time, so I was really big into that. And they never showed any of the Imperial robots, really. I mean, or the droids or whatever you want to call it. And also, they also had the better starfighters. So basically, I liked the A-wing, I liked the X-wing. I thought those were the coolest ones. TIE fighters are just, I mean, they introduced the TIE Interceptor in this one,
Yeah.
and that was kind of cool, but it's kind of like also it was too late. Like they already had like all these other really cool ships for the rebels. So and then my favorite other character was probably Darth Vader, and then he becomes good at the end. So it's kind of like, okay, so like that's like the side to choose. I felt like.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Right
So-
on. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, bud.
No, that's it. Yeah, basically
Right
it
on.
was all rebels for me.
Heck yeah. Oh man, see, I feel a little singled out here. I was, oh Lord. Empire. I can't. I was a kid. There was something about uniforms. I don't get it. It was the stormtroopers walking out looking ridiculously awesome. I don't know why. To me, you guys are very, very much correct. TIE fighters are plain, but in my head, they were uniformed. And to me, it was like, all right, a slew of them coming in. But here's the deal. TIE fighter was not my favorite aircraft, though. My favorite aircraft was a snow speeder over the Rebellion. I'm sorry, I love all the aircrafts, but for some odd reason, a aircraft with two people in it made sense to me. It made sense that having a backup. To me, that was my thing in general. Then we find out a little later that technically a snow speeder is just like a hovercraft in general, because they make an appearance over in Mandalorian a couple of times and over there as well. So I'm telling you, I had to do it. Now, on the note, all right, I guess I really don't have the question because every one of you guys already answered it. Your favorite aircraft. So Kenji, you said B-Wing?
This movie specifically, the B-Wing was like the cool design. I mean, if we're specifically for this movie, if we're going to like each of the movies, it's like, oh no,
Okay,
there's a specific.
we'll put it this way. Ignore the movies. What is your favorite Rebellion aircraft?
Rebellion. Gosh, I mean, if we're going main canon, I would have to say X-Wing. But
X-Wing?
if we're gonna go expand it a little bit, then I would say probably the V or the E-Wing. Like those ones are really cool designs.
Okay,
yeah.
Very cool. All right, Gene, and you said yours was? Did you say the X-Wing, my friend?
X-wing, yeah, it's kind of basic, but yeah.
Hey, no, this is not that. Did you have any other aircraft that really like that? No, it's not basic. It's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. In terms of aircraft, I enjoyed from this movie. And then just playing the games too. I enjoyed the Y-wing because that's like the bomber.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the bomber of the fleet. The A-wing goes like really fast. That's kind of like a speeder vehicle.
Yeah.
But yeah, those three always too. I don't know. I never quite liked the B-wing though, because it's like it goes like that, and then it like I don't know. I like
just the shape of it a little bit.
Well, the idea was that it gyroed in the middle, so like you know, it was supposed to do like cool stuff. Like I thought that was a really cool idea.
That's right.
It was also a modern bomber because the Y-wing was the old bomber that they had back in like the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that one. I mean, I am like, and Mikey, you said your favorite is also the X-Wing, or did you have a different one?
I liked after this movie. I liked the A-wing, and I still like the A-wing. I think it's like because it's just like it's fast, it's small, it's agile. The whole thing about that ship is that it's supposed to be like the most agile starfighter in their fleet. So it's like it could do all kinds of different things. So I always like that. But my absolute favorite one is not even a rebel ship. It's a Imperial ship. It's the TIE Defender, which has like the three.
Slick.
It has the three wings on it, and it's the only one that has shields, I believe, or shields.
Yeah,
and it has its own hyperdrive, I think.
Yeah, it's similar. If I'm correct, it's almost like it's supposed to be not based off the premise of Darth Vader's one, but actually like almost the same tech in a sense.
Yeah. And like in the new canon, I believe it was someone was one like either it was Tarkin. It was one of the mobs was like that was like their project, and then the other project was the Death Star, and they're like trying to compete against which one was like the top one they should put the resources towards, and the Death Star won. So it was like still like they never really made the TIE Defender in the canon. This is why you don't see it. But in like the expanded stuff, there's like a few TIE Defenders. Those are like
very
badass
cool
ships. Yeah.
That's funny that the Empire.
All right, guys, slight pause real quick here. Gene, please hold the pause on that real quick. We had somebody redeem hydrate. So hydrate, my friends, and dihydrate. Bring it in, drink it out. Thank you for doing that, Gene.
Get water yet?
Damn you, Kenji.
You can run and get it now.
Drinking air.
Gene, please continue what you were saying, my friend. I did not mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No, it's all good. I was saying that it's so ironic that the Empire just like cheaps out on shields. Like they don't pay any of the money for shields. It's kind of dumb, but I guess that they're really cheap because they have like so many of them, I suppose.
No, I can just do that. They're all about quantity, not quality.
Yeah.
Man. All right. So, all right. I know we see when I talk about digress. I love this. So here we are. Now at the point, we're still early in the film. We understand the fact that Han Solo needs to be saved himself. Surprise. It's Princess Leia to save the day, along with a trio of badasses. We didn't see that Chewbacca's there. Now, here's the thing. I also want to say this here. I've noticed that a part of the episode in the remake, because I'm watching the remake at the time being, and I see a remastered version, right? Yeah. And I noticed that they changed at this time being the singers and they added the CGI to it. Now, my question to you guys, I have to ask this now. Now, here comes another question. We could digress for days. Do you guys like the original concepts, or do you think that the CGI and the new song complemented the scene at all? So, I want to start off, Mikey, your friend. You guys saw that little chuckle smile there.
Thank you for starting with me. Thank you for starting with me. I hate the new stuff they added to it.
Okay, go on.
I hate the song. I hate the stuff they added at the end.
You don't like that? No.
Does anybody like that? Really?
No.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't really like the song, but I loved the hairy guy that came out of it.
Yeah,
right. That was cool. Wait, but first though, did everybody watch it originally the first time without that? Because I watched it without that.
Yeah, without that.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched it without that.
Okay. Yeah, that's the original one. I saw it on TV. That stuff didn't come later until I think close to like the late night, early 2000s.
Right. Yeah. So when they added that, I was like, oh no, this is not what I watched before. Yeah. This is not good.
It threw me off.
Yeah, I think it's called like Jedi Rocks. Is this one?
Yeah, Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a title for that is, I can't believe it.
I was gonna say no. I'm glad you said it, Gene, because I was gonna. Just like, I think the name's Jedi Rocks, which is ironic.
Yeah. And also, when you look at Jabba's palace, there's no room for this band to like all of a sudden appear. It's like, where did that come from? It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, valid.
It's too much.
So is it safe to say it's kind of unanimous kind of concept? We might not be the greatest fans of the the new song in there.
Nope.
Or do we have some more input, Kenji?
I mean, are we talking specifically about the stuff that they put in? Because
go on.
Because as a retrospective, because the way that I see it is, if you're gonna add stuff to it, add stuff that isn't going to be like completely distracting. And like,
they're all distracting.
It should, if anything, it should just enhance what's happening on the stage, like on the screen. It's the reason why the remake of Star Trek: The Original Motion Picture, the most recent one, looks amazing. You know, it's great, but then you also find out later, oh wait, they actually added a bunch of stuff in there. Like they actually tweaked some of the editing. They tweaked, like the thing is, it's like they tweaked some of like the visual effects in it, because apparently when it first released, it wasn't finished. But like that, but like the idea of like those are like added additions that enhance it and aren't distracting. Like, you know, there's that YouTube video where the guy says, "You're in the way of my movie."
No joke. You know, no, I could see that.
Yeah. Also, the movie just stops. It stops with that song.
Yeah,
it does. It kind of, it's just, Lord. Oh, just a side note. Let's put in a real quick here, because I'm going to reach out the comments because we didn't read the comments earlier. So real quick here. Q-Ball says, I rate this a 5 out of 5. I mean, it was a final installment of the trilogy back then, and it was like a final, some revelations in the film. And from Luke realizing that he's always been the Jedi, and Leia telling Han that Luke is her brother. But throughout the film, it really ties into what started from the first movie. We got Harley7 giving big hearts about this here. We're getting some love from more people. KD in LA says, Return of the Jedi. I went to the original release of this movie on opening night, drove 4 hours to Westwood in Los Angeles. That's really cool. Oh my Lord. And then KD in LA says, I'm so glad they changed the song at the end of the movie. Yup. Sandy Samwise says, oh my God, I was so mad about the change. Let's see, Harley7 here. Redeemed. Take a bite. All right, guys. So if you have some food, give it a bite. I'm going to have this opportunity because this lovely Del Taco burger has been staring me in the very face, and I just have time to eat it now. All right.
The mac and the chicken in here, so.
Thank you for redeeming that. Take a bite, because, man,
I found Oreos in my room.
Yeah. Oreos.
The hidden stash
Dude,
of Oreos.
I'm all about sneaky, like
No
sneaky root
milk though.
snacks.
No milk though.
That's too
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need milk for Oreos.
Nope. I didn't know
Alright.
Taco Bell has burgers. Was that?
Oh my God.
No
Katie Ellie
taco.
says, I had
No
purchased
taco.
a Revenge of the Jedi poster. That is okay. That's fucking amazing. I'm sorry. That is like the best freaking thing ever.
The OG title.
That's freaking awesome. Oh my Lord. And Kenji's grandmother threw it out. Kenji, your grandmother threw out his poster.
Tragic.
What? Oh my God.
I mean, we already. I mean, I think I'll let KD and LA talk about how my grandfather ruined one of the best reveals in this entire saga in the chat. Yeah. Let's just say that my grandfather's epitaph is Darth Vader is Luke's father.
Okay.
It's gonna be on his graves. It's gonna be on his gravestone because he literally ruined it. Yeah,
Who says we still haven't forgiven him on the way to the damn movie in the car? Oh my God. That is the best, most horrible freaking piece of history that you could have associated with yourself right now. What the hell?
Awful.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Every time we recall that story, I'm like, I feel so bad for my grandpa because he's just like, well, how was I supposed to know it was real? They were talking about it on the damn radio.
He thought it was a joke. He heard it on the radio that morning. Oh God.
Oh man.
You know, I mean, realistically speaking, though, I could totally see that happening. Luckily, like my dad took time though. When I was watching TV, literally the reveal happened while I was watching it. Had the thing in his hand. My dad's like, "Hey, did he said it yet?" I was like, "Say what?" And I heard, "I'm your father." I was like, "What?" My dad's like, "Oh, good. I didn't say anything yet." Man, damn. When the Darth Vader says the line, we all just turn to him.
As the bomb. Luke is saying the exact same thing that my grandfather is saying. That's a
Oh my God. Oh, that is. I'm sorry, guys. I find that way too amusing. I apologize, but that is. I don't mean to find your sufferance amusing, but the situation. I'm glad that you could say it. My dad says, "Oh shit, the red helm is gonna suck."
I
can't
mean,
get any better.
But did it ruin the movie
I'm-
though? Because like, couldn't you still enjoy the movie or no? I don't know.
Well, I mean, like at that point, I mean, think about it. That was like the biggest thing to talk about in the schoolyard, you know. And there was already been like possible like things, whispers of a possible reveal happening, and you know, everyone's talking about Han might be Luke's brother, Leia might be his sister, which actually did happen. You know, like. You know, all these things like Ben's actually his father, or you know, like, you know, all these other things that were happening, and then
and he said, I was in the 8th grade. There was no social media. We've been theorizing for years.
That makes sense to me because like this is like one of the first like movies that like where it was for us where we could like actually have things to theorize about. You know what I mean?
Oh, and
like,
I remember I read The Splinter of the Mind's Eye before the. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Mikey.
Yeah.
I just but please continue. Please do.
No. I just felt like this is like the first movie that we could all like, you know, theorize about and like have different like, you know, fan theories about it. I mean, when you're a kid, like you just want to know more about it, and there's no way to find out more about it until the movie comes out because there's nothing, no other place to look that stuff up at. So I mean, that was the fun of it. I think just like discovering all these things in the theater. So if it kind of gets ruined, it's kind of like I get it. It's like, but then again, like I don't know. I feel like even if you did know it, I think you'd still enjoy the movie, right? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I will say this. I will agree with you on this, still enjoying it, but I'll say we're kind of spoiled though. And what I mean we're kind of spoiled is I used to hate spoilers. You tell me spoilers, and I freaking hated it. I just stopped hating spoilers 4 years ago. And the only reason why I started hating spoilers 4 years ago was I had 2 things spoiled for me. I just couldn't be upset about it anymore. And it got to the point where I was trying to avoid everything. And I was like, I'm good. But somehow Snapchat got me. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And it was unintentional. Literally behind somebody's screen, something was being played out. And I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. So I would say that I hold on, I'm gonna continue real quick. He also says during lunch we didn't even play hockey when the topic came up about the Empire. That was going to be in it, and not playing hockey for a bunch of Canadian kids is serious. Oh man, no, I get that. I get that. That's kind of like your social, your social, mecca, so to speak. You go to the school grounds, you talk about, and everything's general, which is I totally get this. That's a bad frustration. On that note, we get the point. We see that we are at cool. We have Han Solo being saved. We get to the point that we notice that Luke has, a robotic arm, obviously, at this point being. We see Boba Fett being famously thrown into the pits. Now, that being said, we think Boba Fett's dead, right? That question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we obviously know there's a book of Boba Fett. We obviously know the continuation of this.
Yeah.
Do you guys think they did Boba Fett dirty in this film at all? I want to start with Kenji. Do you think they just did a quick on-off, or do you think it was done? Do you think he didn't really need more of a nod to it all?
Well, I mean, I feel like, I personally thought that I as a kid, I just was like, oh, that's funny. Like I didn't really think anything of it because like I was what, 5 or 6 at the time that I'd seen these films. So like for me to hate something so much like that would, that's a concept that just isn't born yet in a child like me. So like I was just still very much like about the whole spectacle of it all. But like, and what was cool is like as I got older, I loved that Boba Fett started becoming like this like secondary, like mysterious ghost that kind of haunted everybody's past, haunted everybody that would like show up every now and then in the story arcs. Like I remember in Young Jedi, I don't know if anybody read the Young Jedi Knight series with with like Jaina and Jason Solo, basically about their stories as teenagers training as Jedi. But basically they're like they're like 2 of like 5 of the students like on this adventure that are apart from like the Jedi Temple. Anyways, like he shows up in that, and I thought was really cool because everybody else has the same reaction that you do as the reader, which is Boba Fett's alive. Even though he's on the cover, but like it was still one of those. I just love that there was like this air of mystery around Boba Fett, and or fortunately or unfortunately, they started giving the character more backstory, and I feel like he works better as like a side secondary character. And like, I'm sure there are people out there that probably really liked Book of Boba Fett, but a part of me is also like, did I need 7 episodes dedicated to this character when half the episodes were dedicated to another character?
Yeah,
I got you. Okay.
No,
okay.
Well, that was rough. That was a rough miniseries.
Okay. So question here. So on that note, I'm assuming you're like happy medium. He had enough appearance, but maybe not. Is that kind of like where you feeling on that?
I felt like he did enough.
So the final note for him, he said he did enough. Gene, I'm going to go ahead to you, my friend. Do you think that Boba Fett was done dirty, or do you think that it was kind of like, all right, you're good?
It's like, I don't know. I liked Boba Fett as a kid, like as an action figure and whatever, but he's not really like a character in those movies.
Okay.
Like he's like a henchman. He's in the background. Not to say like he's not cool, but I don't know. If like George Lucas wanted to kill him off that way, like it was like fine. I don't know if I don't know, maybe this is me being cynical after Book of Boba Fett, which I kind of like hated. But like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Kenji right there, because it's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Yeah, him being alive is just, maybe I didn't read all the EU books, but yeah, I was like, maybe just after a book about Boba Fett, I'm like, what's the point?
Okay. Yeah. I got you. All right, Mikey, how are you feeling? Do you think they didn't give enough justice? How did you feel about his appearance in the Star Wars: Return of the Jedi?
No justice. I didn't like his appearance at all. It's funny because I don't know where or when he became such a cult favorite. Like everybody loved Boba Fett at the time. Even as a kid, I remember people liking Boba Fett. I was like, okay, cool. And so everybody liked him, so I liked him too.
Yeah.
And so when the movie starts up, and then you see him like he's in the palace, okay, he's gonna have something to do here, and then he gets offed like in the way he gets offed, horrible. It's like it's a joke. It's a joke basically. So I was like, oh, that's it, and then it was kind of a joke around the playground. Like kids are like, wow, Boba Fett really sucks. Why do you like Boba Fett? I'm like, you guys liked Boba Fett.
Am I good?
Oh no, I good.
Internet sometimes.
Okay, so we hear you, but you are frozen, my friend. But we do hear you.
Oh yeah, no, just like everybody was like, oh, Boba Fett sucks. I'm like, no, you guys liked him first. Why are you guys making fun of me for liking Boba Fett? And then like it just going on for years. Like I think there was the Shadow of the Empire, like that was like supposed to be in between a Return and Empire, and that one I think there was more with Boba Fett. I think the things with and the bounty hunter stuff was expanded on, and that's when I started really liking Boba Fett and the bounty hunters and stuff like that. And everybody started like thinking of him as a really cool character. So I guess as far as the movie goes, yes, they did him dirty. Later on, they didn't really help him because his show wasn't that great. But I still think he's a good character. I think there's a chance to redeem him.
Yeah.
Down the line, you just got to get him the right story. But I mean,
he's
still a good character.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the odd man out. I agree with Mikey, and I feel as if that he wasn't done justice. But at the same time, I do also know a little background reason why he doesn't really put him there. And after that, I'm gonna sound blasphemous. I liked Book of Boba Fett. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Right. I liked Book of Boba Fett. Now I liked it because they brought character to him, in my opinion. Yeah. And honestly, when they explained the whole being stuck into the whole, massive pit of thing, and then saying, oh, technically he was only in there for like less than a week, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. Oh, it's Beskar armor. That makes it. Let's see here. It was give me 1 second here, because I got a message from Kenji here. Why he's connecting. Kenji says, I was saying that Boba Fett was so methodical in how he captures Han, and Han just does Han things and wins by chance. So, Hey, I see Kenji, and I just read your comment on your opinion there, my friend. Good to have you back. You appeared like the return of the Jedi himself. Thank you, my friend. On that thing, I'll let you continue what you were talking about before I go on to finish what I was saying. But you said talked about how Boba Fett was so methodical in how he captures Han, right? No, we may have lost you again. I might have been delayed. So in that case here, what he was saying though is Kenji was saying Boba Fett was so methodical in how he captures Han, and Han just does his Han thing and wins by chance, which I totally agree. That's a little gnarly here there for him. But on that note, like I said a little unusual. I do appreciate the actual, like Book of Boba Fett. I get it. Like everybody has the preferences that make sense. But I'll be honest with you. I'm pissed off about the Pig Warriors, how they weren't given justice, man. So the only thing is that's my other thing. But I know we can go on to that crap later. That being said, we understand that Han Solo is saved. And like I said, we're running a little time here. I want to make sure we're all good here. But we understand Han Solo is saved. He gets rescued. We understand at this point, let's go ahead and just fast forward this. Let's get into our lovely Ewok situation that we know that the fact the Ewoks now have to be ahead and defend themselves. We're going to talk about how the Ewoks battled the stormtroopers. We're going to talk about, are the Ewoks cannibals? Now, a question. Look, I'm going to be real here. I got to be realistic. The reason why I gave this, and just before I talk about this real quick, Gene, popcorn bucket rating, my friend, what did you rate this 4 out of 5?
It was 4.5 out of 5.
Excellent. Mikey, what is your rating, my friend?
4.5.
Excellent. Kenji, what is your rating, my friend?
I give it a reading of 4, I think. I think I gave it a 4. I don't remember what I said at the beginning of this.
You're good. No stress at all. No stress at all. So by myself is 4 to 5. The reason why I'm saying this, the Ewoks were one of my things. They're one like the most adorable things, but realistically speaking, I have to ask all three of you, can Ewoks take out an AT-AT and a platoon of stormtroopers? So, Kenji, since you're back, and it sounds like you're here. Oh, wait real quick here. Before this just takes something away from me, I want to mention, I'll shout out to KD and Ellie, donated $25 support for the Trevor Project. We really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Didn't want to make that, I didn't forget that. But let's go ahead and start. Gina, it sounded like you had it. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm very sorry. A question. Do you think that the Ewoks could take out a platoon of stormtroopers and AT-ATs, my friend?
Yeah, I mean with like logs and sticks. I mean like they're based on like guerrilla armies, like they're kind of like based on like that. I mean like, I guess like historically, yeah, like smaller armies have like taken out like bigger armies through like
Okay.
random tactics. So yeah, I guess kind of like using that real world logic, I go with the Ewoks, and yeah, I love them.
Excellent. All right,
The bears.
right on.
Yeah, I love the bears.
But Mikey, before I go on to you, Kitty Ella says, "Oh my God, the Eox were supposed to be Wookiees.
Wookiees,
That would have been
Yeah,
epic.
we heard about
Oh
that.
my God, that would have been a game changer." Okay, before I digress in that, oh my Lord, now I'm thinking of Star Wars Battlefront on
Yeah.
PS2. Lord, okay. Oh my God, I love that comment. But Mikey, do you think, what's your opinion on the Ewoks versus the Empire?
I mean, I buy it just on the fact that like they used what they had. They had the the ability to. I think it's kind of weird they had like these big logs already chopped down already. Like either like when did they do this? Like, I mean, and how did the Empire not notice Ewoks like building all these traps? Like, okay, well, I'll buy that for that. Also, isn't it weird that like their entire attack force for the bunker was very small and like
Yeah.
it ended up. I mean, it's like if not for the Ewoks, there's no way they could have even held that bunker.
No.
I mean, that was horrible planning to begin with. So I don't know, but
yeah, that's I'll get you that, but no,
yeah, but no, I mean, as far as the Ewoks going, like I'll buy it within the Star Wars universe. I buy it within that universe. It's just you gotta suspend your disbelief there for a minute, and
Yeah.
but yeah, also I had those toys, so I like, and I had the playset. I love the Ewoks; they're great.
Mhm.
So yeah,
The Caravan of Courage.
yeah, the little
Has anyone seen
cannibals,
that?
those
All
adorable.
right, guys, I'm
cannibals.
going to interrupt you real quick here. Heartless 7 is redeemed. You're so punny for anyone. I'll take this this punny here because we're just walking around talking about things. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, I hope that was good enough for you. Let me know if it wasn't. I'll come up with something else. But Kenji, you think that it was plausible going on with the whole Ewoks being a big contribution taking on the Empire?
Well, I wanted to put on my nerd glasses a second ago when you said, can an Ewok take down an AT-AT? Because an Ewok did not take down an AT-AT
I know,
in the battle.
it's
They
supposed to
took
be
down an
it was an ATST. It was a chicken walker. I was hoping no one pulled my shit on. I was like, damn it, don't say anything. And right when he said it, I was like, shit, I didn't mention chicken walker.
Look, I'm Sam Witwer in the reading room, okay?
Mhm.
I'm gonna call you out, okay?
Whatever.
So I'm like, yes, because I'm not trying to like bring shell shock or anything like that to anybody by talking about this, but like, I mean, that's exactly what we ended up seeing, what America ended up seeing with the Vietnam War. Like we literally were fighting people that doing anything sophisticated. They were setting up like traps that they used to hunt, to trick soldiers. Absolutely. Do I think that sometimes resources and just knowing the layout of a land way more than your opponent can be a huge advantage? Oh, absolutely. And I feel like it's like, and especially when there's more of them, if there's more of these people, especially when they have, I absolutely think so. Like I'm going to pull out from another, but you got to look out for the little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
And
Okay.
it was home, like you said, home field advantage. So.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. I gotta be odd man out here. This is where my 4 out of 5 came out here. If it was done to how all three of you just explained it in regards to getting things prepped and having things done, and if they actually chop things up. But here's my issue.
Right.
They were 4'0" chopping things that were twice their size with no tools, that all I saw was spears. Now, my issue with that is even in their parties, all you saw was flames in there. I was a little concerned that they're going to burn down their own tree houses and celebrations too when I saw the flames. But realistic speaking, it's valid points. If you are talking about territorial situation, that area they know like the back of their hand, and some massive army coming, doing no research in there, doing so for, I get that. I guess to me, my major complaint was to see 8 Ewoks just decide to take a vine and trip that I couldn't. I mean, you saw some of them fly on occasion, so that
it was
sense
hilarious.
To me. I mean, I just those are the things over there. Now, I am the biggest critic of this, and yet I got 6 stuffed Ewoks in my room. I love them.
Yeah.
They're like the freaking amazing. So that's one of my biggest gripes with it. Is the situation where it is also their attack force. Mike, you mentioned, or I was a little confused because I was like, All right, so let me get this straight. Why did you decide to take on a bunker that might had a small platoon with like 4 guys? Like, is it that bad? Like, it was just one of those things that kind of threw me off in general with that. Now, we're getting a little later here, so I want to go into the concept of we're going in. We understand that Luke's going on the epic battle. Let's fast forward here. We understand that the actual major Death Star itself explosion. The Rebellion was really great with it. There's a lot, and by the way, I'm going over a little bit more, and Redux is a great, dogfight scenes, great epic scenes in regards to the pilot. So please let you guys know there is some justice. I'm not giving this part here, but just in the sake of time, we are in a situation now. We have the appearance of Emperor Palpatine going into on and off conversations, and with Luke himself and Darth Vader, which Kenji, real dark. Dark situation. We understand your family had revealed. I have to hold on. I have to say this also. Kitty and Elliot comments, hey, right, but Imperial Army is designed to deflect blaster shots, and it can't stop a 1 foot long. Thank you. Okay, all right. Sorry. I have to say this here because Kitty brings up good points. He goes, in the original treatment, there were supposed to be Wookiees, but by that time, George was neck deep in crazy pool with respect of with respect. I'm certain it says merchandising here. Sorry, some of the comments cut off. I apologize. He didn't get a great shake from Kenner in the original, and he had with them. So he was looking to save Skywalker Ranch. He was in deep debt. He goes, but let's see here. Q-Ball says they might be spoiled. Those Ewoks kicked a lot of ass, and the action scenes. Sandy Mark says, indeed, they are warriors. Katie and Ellie responds, right, but the Imperial Army is designed to deflect a blaster shot, and it can't stop a 1 foot long arrow that's moving at the breakneck speed of 10 feet per second. Right. See, that's my thing. And the divine tripping the chicken walker is about the only thing I believe that the Ewok hijacking the speeder. Chewie's hands down. The guy is ancient. See, that was my main things in regards to that, was just what technically Stormtrooper armor is supposed to deflect blaster shots in the first place, and yet they were getting beat with sticks and arrows. And that was my main thing. I get that arrows could get through a bulletproof vest, but that's a blaster armor. I don't understand that. But once again, I was happy as a kid to see the Ewoks win. I mean, how depressing movie would be otherwise. Now, on that particular, I digress a little bit more. I'm sorry, Kenji. I loved reading Kenji. His comments are fantastic. You guys are 1 in a million. Now, besides that, we are in this position now, looking at the fact that we have an epic fight. We understand that Darth Vader has a little moral conflict, and in that portion, turns around, tosses a Palpatine over in there. Now, here's the thing. I have to ask you guys. This is one of the last debatable questions we're going to have. All right. Okay. And it's such a simple edit, but a very debatable question. They added a line to the very end of this portion. In the original, it was classic and silent. In this one, he goes, no. Did we really need it? Yeah or nay? Kenji, I want to start with you.
Absolutely not. Like, I actually here's it sucks because like loving in this thing so much is also like, being extremely critical about it so much as well. And you feel like a parent watching their child do something that they didn't do in the last performance that you saw that you really loved, and now they're trying something new and it's not working. Keep doing it. You can do about it. Is how I feel about that ending, because like I love that it was so silent. How stoically you as the viewer, like even as a kid, nothing was being said. Even though like I loved it at the first time I saw it as a kid because I saw before all the stuff was added. Yeah. And I loved that it was absolutely silent. You still heard everything, yes. Even as a kid, and like that. And I just thought it was beautiful. And like we already made fun of you for having him say no in Revenge of the Sith. Almost like as if it's almost like George was like, no, I'm doubling down on the no. I'm doubling down on this no. I'm saying not just once but twice. It still didn't work.
Oh my god, that's fantastic. Gene, I gotta ask you, it was the no needed, my friend?
Yeah, it wasn't needed. I mean, sometimes he could show more than say, and then now he's doing like both, and it's just like not that it's like a bad delivery, but it's just like a little too much. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Trying to like bring things full circle into like later edits, and it's like, what's that Cody says? It's like poetry, it rhymes, but yeah, it's a little too much.
Copy that, Mike. You have to ask for your friend. It was the no needed.
No, not at all. I also I think at the time I didn't realize this, but I was kind of when I was watching this movie, I was learning how to be a filmmaker, like how directors can tell a story without having to use words. And that was a perfect example of it right there. Like, if you had seen it originally without the words and then you hear it again, you're like, oh, you didn't need that, because in that shot he expresses it perfectly. So I mean, it's not, obviously when you're a kid you don't look at that kind of thing, but growing up I'm like, oh, you didn't need that. They totally just messed that up there. A great shot. They messed it up with words. So
Yeah.
Nah, gotcha. A quick response. You guys are right. No, this wasn't needed. But I want to get to the comments and a couple more things before we go off here real quick. Katie, LA goes in again talking about, the no is so contrived. I prefer the meme where he's doing a ski resort. Snow. Q Ball says, I kind of agree, but I would be friends. They're making references in regards to the characters and so forth. But he says, I kind of agree. I'd be friends with him too, but R2D2 would be kind of cool. Like he would, show you short cuts and destinations. That leads us into this next thing. So Q redeemed what we call suggest a poll. Now, the session of a whole, I got a question for all three of you. Real quick answer, real simple and basic. But which characters would you be friends with? The options are Chewie, C-3PO, R2D2, or just an Ewok. So let's go on with Mikey. What would you say out of Chewie, C-3PO, R2D2, and an Ewok? Who would you consider?
Based off of this movie, C-3PO, because he's a god.
Okay.
You get the rub of hanging out with a god amongst the Ewoks. So I mean, you're a made man. So yeah,
heck yeah,
for sure.
Fantastic. Gene, what would you answer, my friend? Which character would you be friends with? Chewie, C-3PO, R2D2, or an Ewok?
Oh, probably Chewbacca. Chewbacca's just like warm and he's a friendly guy.
I like that.
Seems like he has a good friend. Yeah, fun to hang out with, drink with. I don't know.
Right on. Kenji, my friend, which character would you be friends with? Once again, Chewie, C-3PO, R2D2, or an Ewok?
This is actually a hard question to answer, because all of them are great companions. Yes, even the Ewok. I mean, like, you can see yourself, like hitting the peace pipe and just getting real, getting real cozy with actually that's probably not PC, and that's probably not right to say that. You can just see yourself smoking a really, really fat doobie with with an Ewok, with the Ewok chieftain. Like, I know one of them's a shaman for sure. He's gonna have that stuff that turns you into a deer. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like that would also be a lot of fun. Like, you'll be able to have your vision quest with the Ewoks. Chewie would be really great to hang out with in a bar, because like, that no matter what happens, even if you're not doing anything wrong, Chewie's gonna always have your back. C-3PO, sometimes not all doors need strength, so sometimes you need someone who can just talk really well, and that's why C-3PO is really great. But R2 is also really handy. So you can't ask me this question. Ultimately, I can't give you an answer, is what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough. You made my own say debatable, and it sucks because I thought I had an answer, and then as you guys were going, I was like, God. So I'm gonna be generic right now and say R2D2. I'm just gonna have to say it right now. R2D2 is gonna be my little fighter buddy. Don't get me wrong. So many good options. So thanks, Q. Thanks for making me like scratch my brains. Anyway. All right, guys. Before we leave here, I would love to go ahead and talk with you guys and introduce. Go ahead and share your social media where we can get contact with you. Gene, where can we find you, my friend?
Yeah, you could find me on Twitter, Instagram, Gene9892, and then you can follow my podcast too at the Waffle Press Podcasts.
Heck yeah, right on. Kenji, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me on at Kenjinator on TikTok and on Instagram. You can also find me on Twitch at the Kenjinator. But on Saturdays, I am part of a Dungeons and Dragons campaign where my father, KD in LA, is the DM. So noon on Saturdays, it's the Gatewalker Saga. Check us out at KD in LA. It's a lot of fun. Last time I Hadokened Crocodile. I can't stop talking about that. It was great.
Right on. Mikey, where could we find you, my friend?
Grip C47 on all socials. And if you're on Facebook still, I restarted an old blog that me and a friend had called More on Life. You just look that up on Facebook and you can find it there.
Heck yeah.
All right.
You can find me guys here, of course, but also on Instagram at IAMCOWIE. That's I am Cowie. Do a lot of daily shenanigans, acting videos, and little shorts. You can also find me on TikTok, which would be Alejandro.Cowie, and on Facebook because they're doing big Reels push. So that's interesting. So Facebook Reels, you can find me at Alejandro Cowie there as well. Well, thank you guys. It's all the time we have to talk about the film today. Once again, thank you guys for joining us. I always love having all three of you on. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to join our Discord to keep the conversation going, as well to subscribing to our platforms at Nom Talk Network. Tune in to our next show, which will be, here we go. Friday. Thank you, producer Steph. So it will be Friday, which we were talking about the first episodes on 2 of American Born Chinese. So I'm really excited to hear you guys talk about that. But once again, guys, thank you for joining us. We always appreciate you guys. Please tune in next time. And remember, love, peace, chicken grease. Have a great day.